Have you ever tried to control every aspect of your life, only to find that the harder you push, the more things slip out of your grasp? What if letting go of control could bring you everything you desire? In this video, we'll explore Zen and Buddhist teachings on why we should never force anything, and how surrendering to the natural flow of life can bring peace and fulfillment. Part 1. The Wisdom of Zen and Buddhism. Zen and Buddhist philosophy teach us that life is a delicate balance, like holding a bird in your hand. If you grip too tightly, it dies. If you release it too soon, it flies away. Similarly, trying to force life to go a certain way leads to unnecessary suffering. The wisdom here is not about striving harder, but about aligning with the present moment and trusting that life will unfold as it should. The teaching, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment, urges us to let go of control and allow life's natural rhythm to guide us. Personal insight and story. The cup of life. A Zen teacher once told a curious student who wanted to bend life to their will, "Life is like a cup. It overflows when you force it." The teacher showed the student a cup of tea, which spilled over when the student tried to force more tea in. Our lives overflow with chaos and stress when we try to fill them with more than they can hold. The lesson? Empty your cup, open your mind, and trust that life will fill it with what it needs. Personal reflection. The story of the cup in Zen philosophy teaches us the lesson of not forcing life. The Zen master uses the teacup to explain that when we try to force something into a space that is already full, it will spill over. Life is the same. When we try too hard to control everything, it becomes chaotic and stressful. The master teaches the student that instead of forcing, we should empty our cup, open our hearts, and trust in the natural flow of life. In modern life, we often get caught up in the cycle of work, expectations, and relationships. We try to control everything, from our careers to personal relationships, hoping everything will go according to our wishes. However, this only leads to stress and exhaustion. The lesson from the cup reminds us that when we let go of excessive control, we create space for life to unfold naturally. Reducing control, opening up, and accepting imperfection is the way to find peace. Instead of trying to change everything, we can learn to accept and let things unfold at their own pace. In relationships, letting go of control not only helps reduce stress but also creates deeper connections. The story of the cup also serves as a reminder to find simplicity in life. When we empty our cup, we clear away unnecessary things, rediscover basic values, and live authentically. Life doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs relaxation and acceptance of whatever comes naturally. The lesson from the cup helped me realize that letting go is an act of trust. When I stop forcing everything, I feel freer and more at peace. Life becomes lighter, and I find beauty in simplicity and nature. Part 2. The River of Resistance. Imagine sitting beside a river. The water is turbulent because it is blocked by boulders and debris, forcing its way forward. It struggles against what is in its path. But, as time passes, the water's patience wears away even the hardest stone. Forced actions create turbulence, but when we let go and find an alternative path, we find peace. Example from life. The story about the river resisting nature teaches us an important lesson about not forcing everything in life. When the river is blocked by rocks and debris, the water struggles to pass through with force, but over time, the water patiently wears down the stones and eventually finds a new path to flow. This lesson emphasizes that when we force things, we create turbulence. But when we let go and find another way, we find peace. In modern life, we often face situations where we feel the need to control or force everything to go our way, whether it's challenges at work, relationships, or personal goals. We often push ourselves to keep going without realizing that our current approach isn't working. The harder we try, the worse the results become. I recall a time when I was working on a difficult project and stubbornly refused to change my approach. The more I pushed, the worse the outcome became. Only when I stopped forcing things and decided to change my approach did I find success. The river showed me that patience and flexibility, rather than force, would lead to clarity. The river in the story is a perfect symbol for flexibility and patience. The water doesn't fight the rocks. Instead, it finds a way to flow around them, overcoming obstacles gently and persistently. This is an important lesson in modern life. We can't always overcome difficulties by force. Sometimes, flexibility, patience, and the ability to change our approach are what will help us achieve our goals. In reality, life doesn't always go according to our plans. Instead of fighting against difficulties and obstacles, we can learn to adjust, adapt, and find a new path. This not only helps reduce stress but also brings peace of mind. By letting go of the need to force things and embracing flexibility, you will discover that change and adaptability are the keys to success. The river teaches us that patience, changing our approach, and accepting the natural flow will help us overcome challenges calmly and peacefully. Part 3. The bamboo and flexibility. Imagine walking through a bamboo forest, where the air is fresh and the sound of wind whispering through the leaves is almost hypnotic. Each bamboo stalk is swaying gracefully, bending with the wind, never breaking, never resisting. The bamboo seems to dance with the breeze, its slender body bending, then straightening once the gust passes. Now, picture a bamboo that resists the wind, standing rigid, refusing to yield. The moment the wind picks up, its stalk snaps under the pressure. This is the lesson of the bamboo. Flexibility, not rigidity, is the key to survival. In life, we face many challenges that feel like strong, unrelenting winds, whether it's a sudden personal setback, the pressure at work, or the unexpected changes life throws at us. These challenges can feel overwhelming. But if we, like the bamboo, resist with all our might, we risk breaking. It's only when we learn to bend and flow with these challenges that we can not only survive, but thrive. Think of a time when you faced a situation that seemed impossible. You might have felt that you had to push harder, control more, and force things to work out your way. The more you fought, the more things slipped out of your grasp. You were like that rigid bamboo, unwilling to bend. But what if, instead of resisting, you allowed yourself to bend with the situation? What if, instead of pushing forward with sheer force, you took a step back, adjusted your approach, and adapted to the flow? When I recall my own struggles, it's the times when I've let go of the need to control everything that I've found the most peace. It was in moments of surrender, of flexibility, that new solutions revealed themselves, often in the most unexpected ways. In this forest of life, the bamboo teaches us a powerful truth. Strength is not in being unyielding but in learning to bend. Like bamboo, we grow stronger through our ability to adapt and flow with life's winds, rather than fighting against them. When we embrace life's unpredictability and let ourselves be flexible, we discover a deeper strength within. The next time life throws a strong wind your way, remember the bamboo. Instead of fighting, bend with the wind. By yielding, you'll become more resilient and able to endure the challenges that would otherwise break you. Flexibility isn't a sign of weakness. It's a symbol of the deep strength that comes from knowing when to bend and when to rise again. Part 4. The flower's timing. Imagine a quiet garden, the air filled with the soft scent of earth and blossoms. A lone wanderer, eager to witness the magic of nature, stands before a delicate bud. Its petals are tightly closed, still holding the secret of what it might become. The wanderer, impatient and full of hope, can't resist. They reach forward and gently pull apart the petals, urging the flower to bloom faster, to show its beauty immediately. But instead of unfolding into a vibrant blossom, the flower begins to droop, its color fading, its vitality slipping away with each tug. The gardener, who had been watching quietly from the side, steps forward with a gentle smile. "Why force the flower to bloom before its time?" they ask, their voice calm like the breeze that rustles the leaves above. "A flower blooms in its own time, Forcing it only harms it. The wanderer looks at the wilting flower, their heart heavy with regret. The truth of the gardener's words settles in their mind like a seed in fertile soil. Life, they realize, is like that flower, its growth cannot be rushed, no matter how much we desire it. In that moment, the wanderer learns that beauty and success are not things we can hurry. They unfold at their own pace, guided by the natural rhythm of life. Just like a flower needs sunlight, water, and patience to bloom fully, we too must allow ourselves the time and space to grow into who we are meant to be. This lesson resonates deeply in the world we live in today. We are constantly told to speed up, to achieve, to check off the next box on our never-ending list of goals. We live in a culture that prizes instant gratification, where everything, from information to success, is expected to come quickly. But the story of the flower reminds us that such rush only harms our growth. It teaches us to honor the natural timing of our lives and understand that every step, every moment of pause, contributes to the unfolding of something greater. Reflect on your own life. How many times have you tried to force things to happen? Whether it's a career milestone, a relationship, or a personal goal, how often do we push forward, trying to make things happen according to our timetable? In those moments, we are like the wanderer, pulling at the petals of our own potential, only to find that we're left with disappointment instead of growth. The flower's timing teaches us to step back and trust the process. True beauty, true success, and true peace come when we stop trying to force the bloom. They arrive in their own time when the conditions are right, when we are ready, and when we allow the natural rhythm of life to guide us. The next time you feel yourself rushing, take a moment to pause and remember the flower. Trust that what is meant for you will unfold in its own time. When you stop forcing it, you'll discover that the waiting is not wasted. It's where your true strength lies. Just like the flower, your full potential will bloom when it's ready, beautifully, naturally, and without haste. Part 5. The Tree and the Sapling. In a peaceful forest, nestled among green hills, stood a mighty tree, towering above all the other trees around it. Its roots ran deep into the earth like massive fingers, holding it firmly in place. Beside it grew a small sapling, fragile and delicate, barely taller than the ground it sprang from. One day, the sky darkened and a fierce storm began to brew. Strong winds swept through the forest, carrying cold gusts and relentless rain. The mighty tree, proud in its strength, braced itself against the storm, determined to stand tall. But the harder it tried to resist, the more it began to crack and bend. Its branches, once sturdy, now shook violently under the pressure, and large limbs began to snap. Meanwhile, the sapling, small and fragile, had no choice but to sway with the wind. Each gust of wind gently pushed it one way, then the other. Instead of standing firm against the storm, it bent and swayed, letting the wind pass through without resistance. When the storm finally passed, the mighty tree stood broken, its trunk scarred and its branches stripped. The sapling, though still small, remained standing, the slender trunk bent but unbroken, having endured the storm by yielding to it rather than fighting it. Passerby, witnessing the aftermath, reflected on the scene. The mighty tree, once a symbol of strength, had fallen because of its rigidness, while the sapling, despite its initial fragility, had survived because of its flexibility. This story is a reminder that life is not about being unyielding at all costs. Sometimes, true strength lies not in resisting or forcing things, but in knowing when to bend, to adapt, and to go with the flow of life. Like the sapling, we too can overcome life's challenges not by standing firm against them, but by being flexible and allowing ourselves to grow through them. Part 6. The Pond's Stillness. One serene evening, the wanderer sat by a tranquil pond, the surface smooth like glass. The moon hung low in the sky, its silver light casting a soft glow over the water. As the wanderer gazed into the pond, they marveled at how perfectly the moon's reflection was captured on the calm surface. Each detail, the gentle curve of its light, the shimmer of its glow, seemed to whisper a profound truth. But as they reached out to touch the water, a thought crossed their mind. What would happen if they threw a stone into the pond? The image of the moon would shatter, replaced by ripples that distorted the once perfect reflection. The pond, in its stillness, was able to reveal the full beauty of the moon, but even the slightest disruption would alter its clarity. In the same way, our minds reflect the truth when they are still. The wanderer realized that their search for answers in life had often been frantic, driven by the need to find solutions quickly, much like a stone thrown into a pond. These hurried thoughts disrupted the natural flow of clarity. In meditation, the wanderer had learned that when they tried too hard to force answers or to understand, the mind became cluttered. Thoughts bounced around like pebbles in the water, creating chaos. But when they allowed the mind to settle, when they surrendered to the moment, clarity emerged on its own. Just like the moon's reflection on the still pond, truth and insight appeared when they ceased striving for control. The lesson was clear. In life, as in meditation, we find clarity not by forcing our will, but by allowing stillness to take over. When we stop trying to control the outcome, the answers come naturally, and the mind reflects the truth with ease. The wanderer smiled, understanding that the more they tried to force answers, the more the clarity they sought slipped away. But in stillness, they found peace, and in peace, truth. This simple moment beside the pond became a life-changing realization. The greatest answers come not from pushing or striving, but from surrendering to the quiet flow of life. Part 7. The burden we carry. A traveler, burdened by a heavy sack, was asked why they carried such a load. Upon examining the contents, they realized they were carrying unnecessary items, expectations, fears, and attachments. When they let go of these burdens, their journey became lighter. Life lesson. I've had my own moments of carrying unnecessary burdens. It wasn't until I started to let go of my past regrets and fears that I could move forward with ease and purpose. Like the traveler, we must shed the weight of attachment to make the journey smoother. Part 8. The eagle and the wind. An eagle soars high, using the wind to guide its flight. It doesn't fight the wind, it works with it. In life, challenges are like the wind, meant to be used, not fought against. Reflection. I've often struggled with life's challenges, feeling like they were obstacles. But when I started to see them as opportunities to grow, like the eagle using the wind, I found myself rising higher. The eagle's lesson is that resistance is futile, but alignment creates freedom. Part 9. Growth from within. In a quiet corner of a vast garden, an old gardener shared a timeless lesson about the tallest trees in the forest. "Look closely," he said, pointing to the towering trees that stretched toward the sky. Each of them began as a tiny seed. They didn't rush to grow. They simply trusted in the process of nature. They grew steadily, one day at a time, allowing the soil, the sunlight, and the rain to nourish them. The growth wasn't forced. It happened naturally. Over time, when they were rooted in the earth and allowed the world around them to guide their journey. The gardener's words resonated deeply. Much like these trees, our personal growth follows a similar rhythm. We are all seeds in the garden of life, and sometimes we feel the pressure to grow faster, achieve more, or become something we're not yet ready for. The rush for success or the quest for quick results can cloud the natural unfolding of our lives. But, as the gardener reminded us, growth happens not by force but by patience and trust. Personal growth doesn't have a set timetable. Just as the tallest trees didn't push to grow quickly, neither can we push ourselves to become in a moment. Growth happens from within, through consistent effort, alignment with our values, and patience with ourselves. The key is to remain grounded, to trust that everything we need for growth is already within us, just like the seed that has everything it needs to become a mighty tree. In moments of doubt, when it feels like we are not progressing as we should, we must remind ourselves of this lesson. Growth is not linear. Sometimes we grow outward, sometimes we grow inward. But at every stage, the process is part of the whole, a beautiful dance with time and nature. And just like the trees, we will reach our fullest potential when we trust the timing of our lives and stop rushing the process. Conclusion: the journey of life is not about forcing outcomes or pushing against the current. It's about aligning ourselves with the natural flow, surrendering to the rhythm of life, and allowing things to unfold as they are meant to. As we stop trying to control every little detail and instead embrace the present moment, we begin to experience a peace that cannot be forced. The most profound treasures in life are not won by struggle or by striving. They are uncovered through surrender and trust. When we let go of the need to control every outcome and instead place our faith in the natural unfolding of events, we open ourselves to a world of possibility. The universe has a way of providing what we need at just the right time. And often, it's more than we could have imagined. So, take a deep breath, let go of the weight of control, trust in the process, and watch as the seeds you've planted begin to bloom in their own time. Life's true gifts come not from forcing them to appear, but from allowing them to manifest naturally. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to subscribe and join the conversation in the comments below. What has letting go of control taught you in your own life? How have you seen the process of growth unfold? And what wisdom have you gained from trusting the journey? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. This video is not just about the teachings of Zen and Buddhism. It's an invitation for reflection. Through personal stories and real-life examples, we can see how these ancient truths are still so relevant in our modern lives. Whether we are working on ourselves, navigating relationships, or pursuing dreams, the balance of wisdom and patience is essential. So, as you go about your day, remember, growth, peace, and success come not through force but through patience and trust in the natural flow of life.